The title of this video may seem extremely controversial because it says do not carry yourself like the Indians do. Now, this comes not from a place of malintent and is not attacking an identity that you have. This is describing what I've seen, the way I've seen Indians usually carry themselves outside India or across the world. Now, why am I speaking about this? This is something that I feel like is important to understand in the global context that we're in right now, where there's so much racism, living racism that exists on the internet against us and in the hearts and minds of people across the world. Except in India, because in India you wouldn't know because you're living inside India, it doesn't make any difference. Outside the world, which by the way, our diaspora is far, far across different corners of the world. And this is why it's important to address this very thing. Do not carry yourself like the Indians do. Now, this phrase came from a story that I lived, and I'm going to tell it to you right now. I was on my way to the university in the bus. For some context, I live in France. And I saw a group of boys on the far corner of the bus. And the way they carried themselves was very, very apologetically. I could see in their body language it was caved, it was cornered, it was fearful, it was looking down. There was almost no pride or no sense of stature within their body language. It was just this caving, I'm not gonna approach the world sort of a body language. And I saw how they looked like, hair disheveled, face not trimmed, outfit not put together. There's nothing that, nothing that shows that they have thought about how they're going to present themselves into the world. And I saw that and I had a quick sort of intuition, like I can tell everything that I need to know about this character just by these people, just by looking at them. I can feel the lack of confidence, and I can feel the lack of care put into how they are perceived, or how do I put this, how they approach in the world. It's not even how they perceived, it's how they approach the world. I could tell everything that I needed to know just by a glance, and that's unfortunate, I feel like. And this is what happens, this is what I've seen across, I've seen it in India, I've seen it in Kuwait where I was born and raised. I've seen that there is this tendency to carry yourself very meekly into the world, with confidence that is just lacking, or confidence that is put on like a mask, almost a perverted mask that is put on, this self that people cannot really feel, and it just feels sleazy to people. There's no confidence coming from the inside. Now, at that moment I told myself, do not carry yourself like the Indians do. Even though I am Indian, from Indian parents, from an Indian context. I told myself that because then I realized, wow, okay, there are certain cultural traits that we have as Desis that keeps us in this place where we can't put ourselves forward. And if we do it in a group. If we do it among a collective. It's never an individual sort of thing. We don't stand up for ourselves in any way. And I don't mean stand up for ourselves against racism. I don't mean stand up for ourselves against me who's saying this phrase, do not carry yourself like the Indians do. We just don't stand up internally for ourselves, I feel like. Because one, we're too worried about what the group thinks of us. Let's be honest. In the group, the main motive is to continue the status quo of the group. It's never to evolve. It's never to change. There's no deliberate effort towards done that. It is done for comfort. I've realized when I switch between my Indian friend groups and my, international friend groups, or those who come from an individualistic culture, what I notice the main difference is that when I'm with an Indian group, I have no pressure to be anyone. You know how lovely that is? That's so comfortable. It feels like home just naturally being around. There's no stress on who you are, what you contribute, what are your particular qualities. There's nothing like that, you know. But with a group of people that have been coming from an individualized culture, an individuated culture, you could see that there's a lot more exploration done as to their own potential, their own character, as to who they are. And obviously, both these approaches has its pros and cons, but